and this is episode 57. So great to have you along today, and welcome to another week 2 of December already. Absolutely, I cannot, but honestly, this year has been so crazy, right? Seriously crazy. Well, as you can see, as promised, Rebel was finished across the weekend. So I'm going to stand up to show you that to one side, fully completed. So I can tell you, good morning, Helen. Gosh, I'm so glad that you're here nice and early, Helen. I'm finished. Hold on, let's get, there we go, nice and even up. And what have I got undone? Other way around, Marie. There we go. So this is it all finished, all across the bag. I am so happy with this. So I didn't alternate my skeins, and as you can see, there's this really interesting color change here, which I love because it's consistent across the top, like it looks like it was meant to be. I'm so going to get a lot of wear out of this. Now, I'm going to show you a few bits and pieces that I did. So I'll cover off how I've done it, what I've done, if you haven't had a chance to do this yet, or you've been watching eagerly everybody's Rebels being made, and you're thinking, yes, this is going to be my project across the summer. So for anybody here who hasn't caught up, this cardigan is called Rebel. It is by Libby Johnson, aka Truly Myrtle. Now, it was released in 2018. It's been around a few years. There it is there. And I've chosen to do it in a high twist base, high twist merino base that we have. We use cellulose yarn as a naked skein, but we also, the same base is used in the fabulous Sock Bandit. There he goes. Sock Bandit from Outlaw Yarns. And this yarn is perfect for this cardigan, absolutely perfect. I know Libby, the sample she has photographed there, is done in a fine single. The nice thing about this yarn and having it as a high twist yarn is it makes it quite a light sort of drapey fabric to wear. And what I want with this cardigan is a cardigan that I can wear at this time of year. So whilst it's actually now quite warm here in Napier, it was quite cool when I sort of came to work with a breeze. So it's something that I can pop over. I have a whole heap of these maxi dresses, and I just wanted something that I can throw over to give me some sort of sleeves. So one of the things with Rebel, if you've not knitted it before, is getting the sizing right. It's the number one thing that so many of you, I know there are so many of you that will knit wonderful garments and things for people in your family and gifts and charity and small projects, but you won't actually tackle a large scale garment for yourself because you're concerned about getting that fit right. Hey, look, I completely feel you. Seriously, 15 years ago, that was me. And I knit a number of garments, probably in that period. And then they were either mostly too big or they just didn't quite fit right and they didn't sit. And I just, you'd spend weeks and weeks and weeks working on something and you just feel really bitterly disappointed. Then I had my big aha moment, and a lot of that was around how you measure yourself for size. And that's the thing, in a lot of patterns, that wasn't necessarily covered. And the size ranges and what was available, it was terribly, terribly broad. Modern patterns these days give you a huge amount of flexibility in regards to size, and you don't have to be a massive knitting expert in order to make those very simple modifications to get you a garment that fits just right. I am delighted with the fit with this. I know that I'm going to thrash it, and I made some very, very simple changes in order to get that fit right. So the first thing, particularly with Rebel that Libby talks about, and I need to put my seeing eyes on because I can't see. Right, there we go. She talks about, because this is a drop shoulder, so I'll put it back on so you can. So it is a drop shoulder, so your sleeve starts all the way down here, and it is a very long drop shoulder. So one of the measurements that I did is I did an upper bust measurement. I have an upper bust measurement that I often use for most of my patterns. I know that that sizing seems to work. And in this, she talks about a measurement from the shoulder across. Now, as you can see, this yarn sort of had quite a bit of movement. I did that measurement, I played around with it, I looked at the ease, and once I actually did all of those things, I still settle back on the size that I nearly do for most of my garments that I wear, which is a 44 inch. Which is around an 86, 87 centimetre. I tend to do that. Now, that's not saying that I have a 44 inch bust. It is actually much larger than that. But what I find is that if I accommodate for my bust to here, as opposed to my bust to here, which is where it is 44 inches, what happens with your shoulders is you don't get a good fit in your shoulders. And that, I find, is where a lot of people get really frustrated. So do not be afraid when you actually do some measurements and you actually select your measurement for this pattern, that it is significantly smaller than a measurement that you would consider or normally do for yourself. That is not unusual. There is a lot of flexibility in given this. So I am a size 22 in normal, go to the farmers or the warehouse and pull something off the rack sizing. So I'm what I would call a fairly classic Kiwi 22. That's what I usually wear, and so I've done this to about, as I said, to a 44 inch or 87 centimetres. So that's where I'm at, and I worked it to pattern until I got to the sleeves. So when I got to the sleeves, this was the other modification that I did make. When I got to the sleeves, I have learned just from some patterns that I've done in recent years that a slim fitting sleeve for me is really, really flattering. I like it. It helps, you know, willow me down a little bit. And believe me, at a size 22, I'm not going to, if I can create the illusion of willowing off a few extra kilos, girls and lads, I will be doing it. Believe me, I would pull out any trick in the book. I will dig into my inner Trini and Susanna, and I will try and do that. And for me, a slim fitting arm is one of those things that will do it. I love a kimono arm as well, but in this particular project, because you have all this give and ease here, it's a juxtaposition by giving yourself a more slim fitting arm there to actually help balance it out. So when I got to the sleeves, I actually, for my size in the sleeves, you would normally have picked up 90 stitches. I actually jumped back 3 whole sizes in the sleeve. So I actually only picked up 82 stitches in the sleeve. So I jumped, and as you can see, I mean, it's perfect. So it's not too tight or anything like that. In terms of the pickup, moving the sleeves around, I was able to pick them up evenly and perfectly. It wasn't really an issue. 82, and it was really funny because when I did the pickup the first time and actually picked up the 90, it did actually feel a little bit jammed. So I thought, I'm actually going to go back. And I undid them, unzipped them all, and redid it again on what I thought felt right in terms of the pickup around that sleeve hole. Did that, and it was 82. And I actually took a measurement. Even when I started knitting it, I think I got about, actually you knit 18 rounds and before you start your decreasing. So I knit that 18 rounds and I actually tried it on to have a feel, and it was perfect. And I thought, that's where I'm going to be. So as you can see with the arm, I did that. So I followed the decreasing as written, but I'm also quite solid. I mean, you know, I'm 5'9", I'm a big girl. I'm 5'9", I'm really solid. So there was the taper. I didn't taper as aggressively. And I also too wanted the sleeve that finished here. If I had made the sleeve longer and gone with the sleeve right to the cuff, I would have actually continued the taper down and completed it at what was written, but I didn't. I knew I wanted it, what I call this for me is a summer length sleeve. So I wanted to go to here. So my sleeve, I actually went to and finished my sleeve at 66 stitches, which is only one size back from where I would have normally been. And then I divided for this lovely little cuff notch. So it's just such a neat little, I love that. I just love this. Don't you love this? I just think this is just such a neat little design feature. Now, the one thing I did do with both these little notches and around at the back of the hem, she mentions it in the pattern, about popping a couple of little duplicate stitches at those points, because they are points that come under a bit of stress. When you go to actually divide from working in the round to working backward and forth on the sleeve, you do get a little bit of a stretch between the stitches there, regardless of how much and how firmly you tug. So I did put a couple of little duplicate stitches in there. I had the tail left, and I just threaded that tail down through there, and then just, you probably can hardly see them, a couple of little reinforcing stitches just in there to firm it all up. And I also did the same, where is it? There it is, at the top of that neckline as well, because there's going to be quite a bit of pressure on that neckline, because obviously that's what holds it together. So I have actually gone backwards and forwards with a number of, and actually made that quite strong to help reduce with the pressure. The other thing that I did was, because I had all these lovely colours, you probably can see it from here, is I popped in a contrast pocket. There you go. So the pocket lining is a contrast colour, and as you can see, that contrast colour looks fabulous. I'm so lucky with this yarn because it's all the different colours under the sun. It happened to tone beautifully with the Sock Bandit there, absolutely perfectly. And I did actually have a part ball of this, so I just used the part ball that I had, and it looks amazing. And this is what the pocket looks like on the other side. So there's the pocket there, but it's just quite cute. It's just a cute little pocket. I mean, it's not the most functional pocket in the world, but I mean, you'd slip a, I mean, you know, you'd slip a wee tissue in there, and I just like the feature. I just like the feature of the, it's cute. It's really cute. So I am utterly, utterly, utterly delighted with this. Thank you so much, Libby, for creating such an incredible pattern. Oh, the other thing to let you know is I've not wet blocked this. I've only steam blocked it, and I found that the steam blocking is perfect. If you were to try yours on and it's just a touch snuggle, you haven't got the amount of ease that you had hoped, a wet block should actually burgle you about 10% more sizing, comfortably 10% more sizing, to give you a wee bit more size. So thank you for being oh so patient with me, because I've been a bit slow compared to the rest of you. So many of you finished this ahead of what I did, but I am delighted with it. Utterly, utterly delighted. In terms of the yarn, as I mentioned, it's that lovely high twist. I used around 380 grams of yarn, so that is 4 skeins of this delicious, beautiful hand-dyed speckled yarn, which I got from Sue Goodley. So Sue dyed this for us on our high twist base. So she's from Sue's Hand-Dyed Yarns, based in Mahia, and as I've mentioned before, I adore this because this is the colours of Mahia, and I love it, the wonderful Mahia Peninsula. So that is what I've got left from skein number 4, and I do have a couple more of these, so I'm going to probably do a shawl or a scarf or something like that. So I am thrilled. If you were to use Sock Bandit, and I know a number of you use Sock Bandit, I definitely know I saw one in this beautiful intrepid here. Of course, this is the fabulous Daring, but also the sprinkles. The sample that they have at Outlaw is in the sprinkles, and it looks amazing. I know Helen has, we've posted Helen, she modelled it for them several months ago, and it just looks so, so good. You will need, for my size, it took, 8 balls of this. So it's actually a pretty good economic cardie to do. So that's doing it in this high twist. And I think these higher twist yarns seem to work really, really well for it. Like that, I think they lend themselves to it. So the other yarn that we've got, and I had seen this knitted in this yarn, and again, it looks amazing, is in Waikiwi. And this too also has a very high angle of twist on it as well. And it's also got the luxury of a little bit of possum. It's got the wee bit of alpaca in there. You get a really fantastic drape. The one I've seen being worked on is done in a single colour. It looks amazing. But you could do these beautiful variegated colours as well, and it would still look absolutely incredible. And I bring this up because we do still have quite sweater lots of this left. It's been discontinued, so we've got the rest, all of it here, and it's a really fantastic price. So it's $9.95 a ball, and for, you know, possum alpaca as well. So if you're looking for something and you wanted, like if you were wanting to have like a really classic layering piece that you could just knit up and have in the wardrobe to throw over whenever you need it, and you want sort of more neutral colors, we still have those beautiful grays, denim-y blues. Or, yeah, you could do something a little bit more fun and exotic. So do check, make sure you have a look at the Waikiwis. They're on the sale page if you're looking for the Waikiwi. That's where you'll find them hiding. Alrighty, let's see. Everyone is here this morning. So glad that you've been able to come along, guys. So great to see you. Claire's saying you look gorgeous this morning. Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that. Honestly, I really cannot tell you how delighted I am with this cardigan. I am so thrilled. It was so funny because I woke up Saturday morning super early. I just did, you know, just woke up, and I tried getting back to sleep. When I say super early, I mean 4:30, which is early for me. By 5, I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm going to get this finished, and it was just felt so good. Absolutely so good to get it all done. So I am thrilled. Now, actually, that's a great comment. I'm just going to put Annette's comment up here. Annette has just said, agree with the slim flitting sleeve. It's a great in this design. Drop shoulder baggy sleeve garments from the 80s has totally put me off this garment style, but I'm very tempted to rebel. And she'd like to use my upper bust measurement. That's fantastic. Yes, and you know what? I think you're right. I mean, the first full garment I ever made was a drop shoulder. And let's face it, we all remember them from the 80s, do we not? They came in those patterns. You had a front and a back that were almost identical except for the shaping and the neck, minimal sleeve shaping, like the most clunky shoulder angle you've ever seen in your life, and then you know, with a trapezoid zapped onto the side of the arms, and it was never, you know, it was never a well-fitting item. It was designed to be practical, quick, and easy to knit, but not particularly conscious of the human shape or the human body. But you know what? I mean, those sorts of patterns still have their place, and I mean, I've got patterns like that in there, but in garments that I've knitted in that format. But the trick now, particularly if you're wanting to play around with your sleeve size, I mean, the shoulder in this, if you were to cast this on, if you haven't caught my original earlier posts, this is a short row shoulder, and the fit, as you can see on the shoulder, is amazing. The shoulder slope on this is beautiful. It's invisible. I don't know whether the camera will pick it up. Like, it's completely invisible. It is amazing. I had to get over my discriminately feel against German short rows, because me and German short rows just don't get on. Well, not that we don't get on. I'm lazy. I've always done wrap and turn. So I had to get over my big bad self, because these were German short rows, and she'd written them in, and I told myself that I would be a good girl and actually do the techniques that the designer has put in the pattern, because of course I'm notorious, for those that know me, of not doing that. So I did do that, and I don't know whether you can see this, but as you can, you know, you can sort of see where the stitches change direction there. But that shoulder shaping is completely invisible. No holes, no gaps where you're, you know, going backwards and forwards for the slope. It's just stunning. Really professionally finished. It is so easy to have this garment look professionally finished, because it's just designed so beautifully. So, you know, it is, I just think it's fantastic. I really love it. I'm very keen to do another one. Whether I actually get another one done out over the summer, I don't know. I'm going to actually give that a go, actually. But then I've got got something else I'm wanting to do. And I just love it. I just absolutely adore it. So yes, so that's it, all nice and done. So because I got that finished, it meant that the next thing I actually had in my queue is a favour to a friend. I've got a friend that I taught how to knit this year. Met them during lockdown and in another part of my life that I had, and helped them and suggested to them that they learned how to knit. In fact, they were quite keen. So I have been mentoring this young man for the last, actually we worked out the other day, him and I, 6 months that we've been working together. And so he's been knitting for 5 of those 6. And about 6 weeks ago, he designed his first hat. And so he sent me his notes, his scribbled notes, and I said to him, well, I'll knit your hat for you and I'll see how it works out. So that's what I did. So I cast that on yesterday, and this is it here. So I'm doing it in, oh gosh, and this is literally from spare yarn from my stash. So I haven't, this is pearl. I knitted a scarf, actually. I don't know whether you remember, but I knitted a scarf for my son last summer. He wanted a scarf and he picked the colours out, and it was this is the pearl from that. He wanted this gold plus the Utataki, which is the dark, was it the Utataki? What I mean, the Utataki, which is the dark, vibrant, intense blue. And so this is left over from that. And this is the hat. And it is so nice, actually. It is so nice to cast on something just simple. And I mean, I find that sort of knitting quite indulgent. So this is it here. Look at it. And you know what I love about pearl or orb or any of those yarns? Look at that stretch. This is a twist on twist yarn. This is the construction of this. And you get this wonderful, look at that stitch definition. And so Callum has gone and he's got this lovely mesh work here with the hat, as you can see. Isn't that fun? Isn't that going to look fun when it's blocked out? So yes, that's what I'm working on at the moment. So I cast that on yesterday. What's yesterday? Day before. Yesterday. Either or. I'm just, yeah, I'm really happy with that. So that is what I'm on the board, Miss Ford. And then in terms of summer projects, what I'm looking at doing, and I think, I can't remember whether I talked about this the other day, was a design challenge. So we've got Stitch in Summer as our theme, but I'm going to get a tile done up too for the Skeinz Summer Design Challenge. And I just want you guys to push the boat out. Take a pattern that you've already got in your library, whether it be Rebel or something that you've done before. I'm looking at probably doing actually Miss Jane, because it's one I love, and the way that the Miss Jane is designed, I think what the idea that I have in my mind is going to be a bit fun and a bit quirky. So I want you to take a pattern that you've got, and I want you to zhuzh it up. I want you to, if it's done in a plain yarn or something, I want you to take yarns that you've got in your stash, yarns that you've got hanging around, yarns you might want to supplement with the odd skein or two of something a bit weird and wonderful from our collection, and have a play around with texture, have a play around with different stitches, have a play around with color, and take that template of that design and give it, you know, soup it up and make it your own, and make it really crazy and funky, and challenge yourself. Absolutely challenge yourself to do that. So I'm going to do some stuff with some stripes. I've got some yarn that I have had in stash for a number of years, in a whole range of really lovely broody colours that I really love, and I'm going to take those colours and I'm going to do some crazy striping. And one of the yarns that we've got, some of the incognito yarns that we've got, are going to actually blend in with that and pops of colour. So that is what I'm going to play around with, and I'm going to use Miss Jane to do it. But have a look at what you've already got in your arsenal and give it a go. And I'm going to come up with a really fantastic prize for that at the end of the summer. And that may actually, depending on how well we go, I may actually even stretch that out to the end of February. So have a play around. I think will be, it's a challenge to ourselves, but it's also just letting ourselves go, which I think is really important, and having some fun with design. Speaking of letting yourself go and having some fun with design, I was so lucky on Friday to meet the incredible Lissy Cole and her husband Rudy, and a couple of their whānau came to visit us here at the mill. Now, if you don't know Lissy and Rudy, they are the most incredible designers. They design, do art pieces using crochet and structural pieces. Rudy carves these beautiful installment pieces. They have one called Whiku, which is a traditional Māori head. They also do po boards, and then they cover them with like this intense neon crochet, and they have done so many pieces. They're just these incredible artisans. Their energy is just wonderful. Like, they are just creative and inspiring, and they were all awesome, absolutely awesome. So they had a look at some yarns here in store, and also we took them across to the mill. They were wanting to know more about New Zealand yarns for the work that they do. So it was an educational visit, and hopefully a project moving forward. So that was so wonderful to meet them. But do go and check them out. Lissy Cole, LISSYCOLE.com. Do have a look at her website and the work that they do. They've got a huge, big creative New Zealand project that they'll be working on in 2021, which involves crocheting building and crocheting an entire full-sized wharenui, which is a meeting house, complete with all the artistry that goes along with it. It will be epic. So it was an utter joy to meet you guys on Friday. So thank you for adding us into your road trip on the way back to Auckland. That was great. What else have we got happening this week? I've definitely, actually, a couple of things. Obviously, Stitch in Summer tomorrow and Thursday. And because it's you guys and because I love you, you're going to find out before anybody else what that's going to be. And tomorrow it is 20% off everything Knit Pro. So any Knit Pro that we have on the site has got 20% taken off. So that includes those interchangeable sets. So if you've been looking at buying a Christmas gift for yourself or for somebody else that you know, those sets will also be 20% off. But it's needles, hooks, cables, DPNs, tips, all of them will be 20% off tomorrow. So have a look. If you're needing to stock up or replace anything, tomorrow is the perfect time to do it. Also, we've got some new yarns that are going to be going up that instead of being Stitch in Summer just for a day promotion, they are going to be yarns that will go up for a promotion for the duration of Stitch in Summer. So you don't have to rush in to get them just on those days. So if you're wanting to pony up on a promotion that you see and you absolutely love, you can then add these yarns into them, and you know that you're going to be getting the best price across the summer break for those. So those are coming very soon. In fact, we picked up the last of those. Claire literally went to the dye house to pluck out. They're wet, in fact. The hanks are still wet. She's drying them out the back so we can get those up to the photographer so we can have those loaded for you, fingers crossed, this week. So they are coming. They are some woolen spun yarns. They're absolutely beautiful, and they'll be part of the Incognito range. And we've got some more of our American goodies. In fact, when I'm done here, that's my next mission this afternoon, is to get the next tranche of that beautiful American range up and running to you. I'm just having a look. We've had quite a lot has gone out at the end of last week. So if you've been wanting to get some maple, some aspen, and the new one that I popped up, which is the birch, the chunky, you need to be quick. There isn't a huge amount of that left, but man, it's utterly gorgeous, and I know that you guys have been loving it. So make sure you pick those up. I think that's about me for today. Don't forget to continue to post your work over on the Skeinz Speakeasy. Remember, if you've got a friend, any other knitting friends who are not members of the Speakeasy, make sure you invite them in and let them be part of the fun, because what we love about the Speakeasy, it's the yarn group that actually talks about yarn, and we absolutely enjoy it and love it, and we love your inspiration and your photos as well. So until then, have a great couple of days, and I will see you again on Thursday. Take care.